As I mentioned, my name is Michael Buckley, the Director of Campus Life. What we're going to be talking about today is primarily the benefits of living on campus. And to highlight that, I've invited several students to come join us. The very first one I have on my list here is Atlas. Atlas, would you do me a favor and just say your name? Oh, by the way, Michael Buckley, my pronouns are he, him, his. I'd love for the students and the adults to introduce themselves, say their name, their pronouns, and how long you've been at the school. How long have you been living at the school? I've only been living at the school for about 3 months now, and I'm still very new, and I'm very excited to hear some of these questions so we can fill in some of my own gaps in my own knowledge. So Atlas, would you please introduce yourself, name, pronouns, and then how long you've been here, and then what's your hometown? Where are you actually from? Atlas, take it away.
Okay, so my name is Atlas Reville. My pronouns are he, they. This is my second year living on campus. I'm a sophomore, and I am from Tacoma, Washington.
I love that. I love that. And you do have family close by, right?
Yeah, I've got family in Rhode Island and New Hampshire.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Atlas, and thank you for being a part of this. Having lived here for 2 years, I'm sure you're going to be a wealth of knowledge for people with questions. Mr. Romeo, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Romeo. This is my first year being here. I'm a freshman. Just the same as Mr. Buckley. I'm living here for about 3 months. Originally from Boston, Massachusetts, and then I came here to Waltham just aboard to see how it feels. And yeah, it's me.
I love that. So far, just briefly, are you happy with the decision to live on campus, even though you are close by to Boston?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's a change, but like it's a change that people can get used to over time. It doesn't take that long to get comfortable and get to know everyone well. So
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Romeo, for being a part of this conversation. And lastly, Lachlan Hall, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Lachlan. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I already forgot the prompt. What was it?
He, him, his, how long you've been living here, and
so,
what's your hometown?
Yeah, so I've been living here for 3 months. I am a junior. I transferred in from another school in Winchester, but I live in Burlington.
Excellent. And your previous school, were you a boarder there as well?
No, the school is too small to have a boarding community.
Gotcha. So this was a sort of a double transition for you. You transitioned to this school as well as into a boarding program.
Yeah, exactly.
Very impressive. Very impressive. Lastly on the call, I have Matt Soul, the Director of Marketing and Communications, as well as Lisa Pelrin, the Director of Enrollment Management. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Excellent.
Yeah, my name is Matt Soul. I am he, him, his. In my day life here, I am Director of Marketing Communications, doing things like this and running this. And then I also have been living on campus for 9 years now. I've lived in the Harrington dorm. I've lived in Worcester dorm. I now live in a house on campus that is extended from a dorm. And I've been a dorm parent as well as an administrator on duty, so kind of overseeing all of campus. So I've had a lot of different views of campus life and how things are going here. So yeah.
I love that. And I've noticed that the people who have longevity here, like the big amount of years, have lived in basically every dorm.
Yeah, we've been all over. We've been all over for sure.
I love that.
And yeah, and just one thing on, I guess, in the time too, just as seeing one aspect of campus life is just the family aspect. To me is really amazing. Seeing like the campus really kind of change after school into all the dorm families are out, and the high school students are mixing it up and out with the families and the kids in the dining hall. And so that aspect to me is something that has been one of my favorite things for sure about the boarding community.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. And Lisa Pelrin. Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management here at CHCH. I've actually been here for 20 years, and I spent my first 10 years on campus in both South Hall and Harrington Hall as a dorm parent, head dorm parent. So I have some experience as well, even though it's been a while. But in my admissions role, work with many families on talking about the boarding program, work with current families like yourselves that are day families considering boarding and what that looks like. So I have lots of experience with that, and forgot to mention my pronouns are she, her, hers. So
Excellent.
welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. And I think I have the distinct pleasure of living in a former apartment you used to live in
Yep,
South.
you do. Yep.
It's by far one of the
Great, a great first apartment.
right?
Yeah.
Beautiful light. I can hear the river from my apartment, which is very, very nice. Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone.
We have one more guest as well, current parent.
Oh, a current parent. Oh, I'm so sorry. My second Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hi. Yeah, so I am a dorm parent. No, I'm sorry. I am the parent of someone who lives in a dorm. Lisa, she, her, hers. My son, Ron, for those of you in Worcester Hall, it's Ronnie Walsworth. And he is a senior. So this is our fourth year with him as a boarding student. 2 of those were pandemic years. So it was a little different, but he did spend at least 1 trimester in the dorm in each of in 2 trimesters his freshman year, 1 trimester his sophomore year, because that's when the dorms were open. So, but I have 4 years, going on 4 years of experience of being a parent of someone who lives in the dorm. We live in Newton, which if anyone's not local, it borders Waltham. We are 1 town over. So my son does tend to come home on the weekends. So he's a boarder most of the time, but not 100%.
Lovely. Thank you so
everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. I've advanced the slides. What we're going to talk about today, specifically with the boarding, is Skills for Life, the Embracing Boston program, and Meaningful Connections, the 3 things that we highlight as sort of the pillars of the program. Actually, before we continue, let's look at the Q&A to see. Excellent. Before we begin, when will we be notified if our student is approved to the boarding trial? What is sort of the timeline that we're looking at here? The applications, there really isn't a formal application. It's more of an email to me, and then a process that we're going to go through to sort of approve and make sure that the boarding program is the right fit for specific students in specific places on campus. A lot of factors are going to be involved with that, specifically gender expression, and figuring out where there is availability in some of the dorms. And in terms of sort of the final day, Lisa, do you have sort of a final, sort of the deadline for when we should?
Yeah, we'll be walking through the timeline on a slide a little bit later in the presentation, but we want to notify families on December 1st. I believe it's the Thursday before the move-in date. So we'll get to those details in just a little bit, so that way you can kind of see the visual and the timeline for everything.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Mr. Lachlan Hall, would you, I'm having trouble getting rid of the Q&A part.
Just minimize it. Just click on the minimize button in the Q&A box.
Beautiful. That should have worked. Excellent. Oops, too many. Mr. Lachlan Hall, would you take it away for me?
Sure. So CHCH's boarding program is an immersive experience where students develop their independence and leadership skills, explore everything Boston has to offer, and make friendships that will last a lifetime. Students from around the corner, or around the globe, or wait, never mind. Students from around the corner and from around the, I see, sorry.
You're doing great.
And from around the world make up this diverse boarding program. Graduates from CHCH's boarding program find that they are confident about their transition into college and have the skills to be successful when they get there.
Excellent. Independence and meaningful connections, as well as our proximity to Boston, are three of the highlights. Leadership, independence, and empathy. One of the skills for life is independence. What we strive for with our students is to create that next sort of college level experience in living in the dorms, from doing laundry, eating healthy in our dining room, organizing homework, and balancing work with social life. It's very important to have a social life here on campus and off campus, and we strive to teach that balance between work and play. Two leadership opportunities when you live on campus is as an RA, which are juniors and seniors who are donating their time to have an elevated responsibility on campus, and they help dorm parents create programming like weekend activities. I know that the RAs are people that are the go-to for minor inconveniences and problems that are solved on an individual basis in the dorms, as well as opportunities to host programming and things with dorm parents in the dorms. Lachlan, take this one.
So skills for life, empathy. Being immersed in CHCH's diverse boarding community means students gain the ability to understand, learn from, and share the feelings of those around them. From sharing a space with a roommate in the dorm to taking part in dorm-wide discussions, these students learn the importance of going up to new points of view.
Excellent. I have a quick question. What does it feel like? This is for my three students. What does it feel like transitioning from sort of living on your own at home to living with a community, a group of people, and then even sometimes a roommate, Romeo? What does that transition feel like from independent living to community living?
I'll answer. So originally, when I was in Boston living with my parents, it was like the responsibilities were a bit lower, since like I have siblings and my parents, they would like do certain things and I would do only the bare minimum. But now that I'm living here, it's like I have to clean my room more often. I have to manage my time well. It's like I gain more independence, but I gain more responsibilities. So the change isn't that much. It's just, like I said before, you have to change, and the change doesn't take that long. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Atlas or Lachlan, do you have anything to add? I think that was beautifully said, Romeo. Excellent. One quick question. Is there a fee for the boarding trial? There is no fee for the boarding trial. There is a lot of manpower and a lot of logistics that go into getting somebody to live on campus. So we are asking that people who are interested in permanent boarding be the people that actually start the process. I hope that answers that question. Let's continue on here. Oops. Excellent. We are incredibly close to Boston, a tremendous place of culture and art and fine dining. We've had, just over the last 2 months, we've had plans to go into duck tours. We've had duck tours. We've been to Harvard Square, Witches Woods, which is a little farther away, but just an example of how rich the environment is, very close to Boston. And then meaningful connections. One of the things that I've noticed about Atlas, I'm going to gas you up a little bit, Atlas. Atlas is exceptional at making connections on campus, and is, I hope, in the running to be an RA. I think that is a conversation that you and I are going to have coming up, because your empathy skills are top notch. Atlas, can you tell me, does empathy come naturally to you, or is living on campus something that sort of helps foster empathy in you and your connections with students?
I mean, I think empathy is something that you definitely have to work on. It's not something that just comes to you normally.
Mhm.
But I think living around all of these people definitely does help, because you really see, like, you get an inside look on these people's lives. Like,
Mhm.
you don't just see them during the school day, like, you're actually living with them and you see what they're going through and you can make connections with them. And it's just like, it's a completely different experience. But anywho, yes. I would say that living like with the people definitely makes you feel like I can't think of the word, more empathy towards them.
Love that.
I'm so
I love
sorry,
that.
that was terrible.
Yeah, no. Empathy, compassion, kindness, it sort of engenders and fosters those feelings in you. I absolutely love that. And a follow-up question, you actually had a big transition. Yeah, absolutely. This month, I think that did you gain a roommate from someone who chose to become a boarder mid-trimester? How did that transition feel from becoming to becoming a roommate from having a single for a minute? How did that feel?
I honestly really liked it.
Oh,
I
you were nervous about it
thought
at
I was
first.
gonna want a single room.
Sure.
I really liked my single room when I had one, but now I have a roommate, and there's something that's just so comforting about having a roommate.
Tell me more.
Like, you just always have them there with you, which like sounds terrible. I'm someone who really likes to be alone a lot of the time, but like with a roommate, it's just kind of different. You get to know each other, and like you never have to spend time with them, but you always want to. And like for me, if I'm ever in my room and they're not in here, like it just feels wrong to be in here. Like
Fun.
I just
Okay.
love being in here, and like with them in here, we also just have a lot of more people in our room. We'll have a lot more people come and hang out, and it's just a really good environment.
Great. Great. So it sounds like it's fostering this really nice social dynamic that it maybe wouldn't have happened if it was just you by yourself in a room. Now it's like this built-in friendship sort of thing. Thank you so much, Alice. I loved hearing that. Are there any questions? Lisa Burdick, does this sound, does this ring true to you in your experience here, having been here for 4 years? Has Ronnie ever had a roommate?
As a freshman, he had a roommate. He has not since.
Lucky him.
Yeah, well, the pandemic, blame the pandemic.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and in fact, as a freshman, he had 3 roommates. So he had to negotiate and figure out kind of how to deal with 3 different personalities in a fairly short span of time. And there are 5 of them that are seniors now that have been boarders all 4 years. And I would say that that group is pretty tight. And there's a lot of ribbing that goes on, but like, they kind of, I think because I think that's a smaller than average number that like there's only 5 of them that have made it all 4 years in the dorm together, and they're a tight little group, and they do rag on each other.
I love that. It's
But
particularly nice to watch them.
It all seems very good natured. And whenever I run into anybody when I am over on campus, either picking them up or doing other things, and I meet any of the dorm kids, I'm like, oh, Ronnie's my son, and it's like, oh, so I feel like all of the Worcester Hall residents kind of know each other, particularly the ones that are on the same floor. So I don't know how well he knows any of the freshmen, but he certainly knows anybody that's been in the dorm prior to this year, he's already built in friends on campus. So
I love that. And knowing Ronnie, just a little bit that I do, I'm certain that these friendships are going to be the ones he's going to have for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Yes, yeah. They have their own lingo. I think there's certain things. Oh, don't worry about it, Mom. You wouldn't understand. I'm like, okay, fine.
I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So what the boarding week will look like, brief sort of schedule right here. It's not going to look particularly special. We're not going to pull out any bells and whistles. We're going to give you sort of a regular week, and to give you a regular week, a standard week. And that will start on Sunday, December 4th, move in around 4 o'clock would be ideal. And then that will give an opportunity to have dinner in the dorm in the dining hall. And then we could start a study hall at 7:30. Study hall happens depending on where you are living. Study hall happens in South in their dorm rooms. Harrington has sometimes independent studies in their dorm rooms and sometimes community studies in the dining hall and Clements room. And then Worcester Hall has their study hall out of their dorm in Wilkins, one of our academic buildings here on campus. What I will ask anybody who does end up moving on campus for the boarding week is to start thinking and reading emails like you are a boarder. And every week we ask boarders to sign up for weekend activities. That will be pretty limited for the trial boarders, because we'll only have them for Friday night and Saturday afternoon, but they will still need to sign up for whatever activities. Boarders, can you tell me some of the activities that you might be involved with on a Friday night and a Saturday afternoon? Lachlan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say like activities can really be anything like under the sun, as long as it's like not completely out of like, out of the question, like completely like not doable. But I mean, last weekend I went bowling. Weekend I went to the Natick Mall. It's always just like something different every week, but there's also like a really nice Target trip every week that just like allows students to pick up something they might have forgotten, or just buy something that they need. So it's a really nice variety of like separate big kind of activities compared to and they also have like just smaller, more reliable ones too. That are also an option. So it's really nice.
Excellent. So it sounds like there's a balance between novel experiences and familiar experiences, sort of like.
And I also want to mention, someone asked in the chat that can a family visit the student when they want and take them off campus for meals and such. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can do that. I think we're usually really flexible on that type of stuff. There are certain time periods, like if you wanted to check someone out for the weekend, you can do that. Otherwise, if you just want to take them out for dinner or something, they just have to be back by, I believe it's 10:30, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll jump in here because I have experience with doing that. So when your child is a boarder, you will be emailing Ms. Daniels, Stephanie Daniels, and I get reminders, but every week I email her to let her know whether or not I'm picking up my son to bring him home for the weekend. And I tell her I'm going to get him Friday after activities. I'll return him Sunday in time for study hall or in time for dinner. In general, on a weeknight, if you're going to pick them up for dinner, you're supposed to be back in time for study hall, which is at 7:30. So that you could get them for dinner, but then you need to get them back on campus in time for study hall. All right, that's what I had to add.
I did want to mention.
And all of that is,
sorry.
well, I'm sorry, one last thing. The students themselves have to check in with the AOD, the
Correct.
administrator on duty. What does it stand for again? It's the
Yep,
person,
you got
it's
it right.
it's the adult in charge. So they have to make sure that somebody knows that they're leaving campus. All right, I'm
Perfect.
done.
I did want to mention, while there is flexibility with going home on weekends, we do have a couple community weekends built into each trimester where our boarding students are required to stay on campus. Again, either for community building, there's special activities that we offer, and also towards the end of the trimester, so that way students can kind of prepare and finalize end of the term projects and exams and such. So so I did want to mention that there are a couple times where they will be required to spend the weekend on campus. But there is, you know, students can stay for Friday night for an activity and go home Saturday, come back Sunday. So they don't need to just leave Friday and come back Sunday. So I think some students and families really enjoy that. And I know a lot of families have Sunday dinner still. So I think it's really nice to be able, you know, to kind of have that flexibility.
Absolutely. And I did want to point out too that weekend activities are not exclusive to boarding students. Everyone gets that weekend activity sign up, and day students and boarding students interacting together is sort of the dream. And so weekend activities are open for all. Oops, it went back. And so to be considered for the program, please email me directly, mbuckley@chch.com. What we will do is I will send that information off, and the application, the idea will be reviewed by academic deans, director of enrollment management, and the health office. Lisa, what are some of the things that we are looking for in terms of what will make a good fit? What are the criteria that we're looking at?
Yeah, you know, as Michael mentioned earlier, this is really for serious inquiries only, you know, for students who really want to be part of the boarding community and continue that during their time here at CHCH. And I think that boarding week trial really gives a student a glimpse into the boarding life, both on weekends and during the week. So, you know, we're just kind of putting, as we do with the application process for admissions, just really making sure that students are a good fit within the boarding community, you know, and as we're looking to pair students up, depending on how many students we have of interest and possible roommate situations. So, you know, just really trying to gather all the information we can, you know, again, from an academic point of view, social emotional point of view, and just make sure we have all the right supports in place to be able to make sure your child is thriving within the boarding community. Yeah.
And decisions will be sent out no later than December 1st.
Yep. And I would say, I don't know if this is on the next slide, Michael, but the deadline to let Michael know that you are interested in moving forward with the trial is November 28th. I know that is right after the Thanksgiving break, but you have from now through Thanksgiving to really talk it over. And you can email Michael anytime from now until November 28th. So that way we can get all the proper paperwork and information that we need in order to make that final decision to you on Thursday, December 1st.
Excellent. And also making sure that roommates are aware, dorm parents are aware. We'll do a thorough cleaning of your space before you were moving in. There's a lot of manpower that we devote to making sure that the transition is extra comfortable and smooth. And that opens up Q&A time. I really appreciate everyone's time. It is 10:05. I want to empower the students. If you do need to take off to go to class or a different activity, please feel free. Just give a sign off and we'll let you go. I believe.
I just wanted to cover one of the questions. While
Right.
there is no fee for the boarding trial, there will be an addendum to your current contract that if you do want to move forward with boarding for the remainder of the year, there will be an addendum to your contract to reflect that change from day to boarding. And the fee at this point is prorated to cover second and third trimester. So the boarding fee is about $8,000 plus a $300 boarding health fee as well.
Excellent. I don't see any more
There was
questions in our.
one, Michael, I just wanted to
yes.
cover one that was, it might have got dismissed there early on. When I had mentioned that families were eating in the dining hall. Somebody
yes.
mentioned, can families come and dine with their students? When I had mentioned that, I was referencing like boarding families, people who are dorm parents who live here on campus, but there definitely are families that come by. I'd say weekends, that's more common. You'd see they do brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 10:30 to 1. It's a much more, relaxed open time. And that would be a time that you could see families come by and visit, and, they might eat on the picnic tables outside or come in the dining hall. But that is something that does happen too. So just to answer that question.
Excellent.
Yeah.
In addition to Lisa being a current parent here as well, to answer any questions for you, or even after this webinar, we do have one of our parents of an alum whose son is in college now, and he did make the move halfway during his time at CHCH from data boarding, and Ben said he'd be more than happy to also speak to you. So now he can kind of give you a perspective of, having his child transition from data boarding during CHCH, but also how that's really prepared him during his time at college. So please feel free to reach out to me as well, and I'm happy to put you in touch with any parents or other boarding students if you have other questions.
Excellent. Let's wrap it up with a question to our boarding students. One at a time, would you tell us, what do you do with your free time on campus? How do you spend your free time on campus? Lachlan Hall, how do you spend your free time?
So my free time is usually spent in the lounge playing video games, just enjoying a good time with the boys in Worcester. It's a really nice community, and I recently got a Nintendo Switch, so it's all like a whole
Community gaming groups.
yeah, community gaming is like a huge thing in Worcester right now.
Love that. What's the newest game y'all got? Call of Duty?
Something like
we
that.
have Call of Duty, and we also play FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Romeo, it sounds like you play video games too. How else do you spend your time on campus?
Yeah, so whenever I have free time, and especially during clubs bulk, I go down to the lower field and play lacrosse with the other lacrosse players who are boarding students, and sometimes even the day students come around. They put their gear on, and then we start practicing for a little bit. We have a lot of freedom when it comes down to us playing lacrosse, so we just use that to our advantage to get better. So like after class, take my lacrosse stick, go down the lower field, do whatever, then come back to dinner, and then I go to study hall, or the gym sometimes is open during dinner time. We could go to the gym, like play basketball, volleyball. There's also mini goals there that you could shoot around at, and it's just like you could basically do whatever athletically.
I love that. I had the pleasure of watching a lacrosse game last year, and it is electrifying. Romeo, I can't wait to see you do that. I'm very excited about that. Atlas, finish up. How do you spend your free time on campus?
I'm not gonna lie, I spend most of my free time in my bed.
That's okay. That's wonderful. Rest is work. Great job. You're taking self-care. Great.
It's what I need. So
but also I think the idea of you have a space that you can feel comfortable to relax. That's a big deal. And you shouldn't feel bad about taking time for yourself to rest and commit self-care. Well done. Lisa and Lisa.
I'm going to jump in and say, I don't know everything. I'm sure Ronnie is probably also one of the video game players, but he's also a budding photographer. So I know sometimes during his free time, he grabs his camera and takes pictures. So just thought I'd throw that in.
I love that. CHCH is one of the most artistically the artistic environment here is second to none. I'm really
Michael, can
pleased to hear that.
I add to that too on the artistic
Please.
side? So I think one of the things balancing out the athletic side too is during study hall, most weekdays we have the Visual Performing Arts Center open during study hall. So I was on last night actually, and there was a student in the theater practicing for the musical. There were students upstairs doing photography. There were students in drawing up in the top floor there. So that's become like a really active, the gym is open after dinner, and that's been super popular. And then the Visual Performing Arts Center is open during study hall. So it's really kind of great to have that access and have teachers there who are helping out during those after hours times too.
Excellent. I cannot thank you enough for participating and being available today. Lachlan, Romeo, Lisa, and Atlas, and Matt and his team, who have been diligently helping with tech and helping make this webinar look as great as it does. Please feel free to email me with any further questions, any ways that we can help make this transition easy for you. Thank you so much. Thanks to all. Thank you. This is lovely. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Students, thank you so much. Lisa and Matt, thank you again. Have a wonderful day, everyone.